Andy Simmons and Sean Samuels. Please welcome Dan Head.
Well, Dan Head, certainly the rank outsider of the men left in this British National Championship. But, you know, Dean, he's made a habit throughout this tournament of beating the best there are to offer, including Andy Simmons when he was the IPW champion.
Yeah, and he's on a roll of late as well. Just a couple of weeks ago, Bogner pulled off a huge upset when he cleanly defeated Big Dave Morales.
Yeah, very similar opponent in some ways to the man he's going to face tonight.
Absolutely, I was going to say, you know, used to gaining advantage over heavyweight, and Dan Head, the look on his face, absolutely determined, and he's going to need to be, because this man is awesome. This man's beaten Sam Slam. He's my pick to win the whole thing. Johnny Moss,
as well as the previously undefeated Sam Slam. Please welcome the current and reigning All England champion, the Vigilante Johnny Moss.
Well, as John Atkins there said, he beat Doug Williams. He's given Sam Slam his first defeat. There he is with the All England Championship belt. And Dan Head really has got his work cut out for him tonight.
Certainly Johnny Moss was a 9-1 shot when this tournament began. He's nothing like that now.
Whoa! And ring that bell.
Dan Head taking the fight to Moss. And although after that win against Morales 2 weeks ago, you might think he's got a chance with it.
All the way down, and Dan Head is starting at 1,000,000 miles an hour, as he's going to have to do. He's quite clearly got a strategy here of high risk, high impact, high speed moves. And Moss fires back 2 massive chops, make that 3.
Yeah, Dan Head, despite that win over Morales, is definitely the underdog, but he ducked that chop from Johnny Moss on that occasion. Head is going to have to wrestle a near perfect match, I think, Dean, if he's going to have any chance of winning the All England title and going to the final.
Well, now he knows that it's Terry Fraser he's fighting. I mean, both the semi-finalists. Oh, that's a bad move for Dan Head. Both guys pulling out all the stops. They want to win this and win this early, and Dan Head's all tied up in the ring post.
That's what I meant when I talked about him having to wrestle a near perfect match, because you see, as soon as he makes a mistake, a veteran like Johnny Moss takes full advantage, and Dan Head's knee could be in some serious trouble here.
And Johnny Moss, of course, just last weekend won the 1PW Openweight Championship. That's 2 title belts he's now got in the old trophy cabinet at home in Cumbria.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that!
You see him relentlessly, as I said, going after the knee. He's been picking up wins and championships up and down the country of late, but all of those would be dwarfed by winning this, as I said before, unprecedented year-long tournament, the British National Championship. That's what it's all about tonight.
Referee Chris Hatch being very lenient. Obviously, we want clean winners in this, really, wherever possible.
That said, we still want both men to fight fair. Dean, you're a clear advocate of fair fights, aren't you?
Oh yeah, of course.
Completely impartial.
Yeah, right. I've always said the ref doesn't see, the ref can't call, and Dan there has taken that strapping off, which tells me that knee is swollen, because that's the only reason you take that strapping off, because of the pressure on your leg. So, oh, look at that from Johnny Moss, a rolling leg lock. Moss is trying to win this one quick.
And he may well do. It may have been a mistake from Head to relieve the pressure by, as you say, undoing that knee pad, because that lets Moss know that he really is hurting. And you see, Moss is just focusing only on one body part. Moss now, it's got that, almost an STF, no, not an STF, it's like a crossface with the leg lock. And I can't see, but Head looks like he's in the ropes. Referee Chris Hatch calls for the break and gets it. You know, there is danger for Moss here, though, Dean, I think, being the favourite for this tournament. If he fails to win it, he will not only, be a favourite who didn't win, but he will have had one of the shortest All England title reigns in the 7-year history of that championship. And he must be anxious to avoid that.
Yeah, that is true. Johnny Moss, I mean, I've known Johnny Moss since literally day one, and this guy, well, he hates to lose. I don't know anyone who does like to lose, but you know what I mean? This guy is so passionate and intense about his wrestling. I don't think he's going to overlook anyone. I don't think he's going to take anyone lightly. He's too experienced for that.
Yeah, unfortunately for Dan Head, this is exactly how I thought this match might go. Moss taking away the vertical base of Dan Head. If he does that, there won't be any chance at all.
Well, we saw Zack Sabre do this move in the last match, but when you're a guy of Johnny Moss's size, to execute a perfect wrestler's bridge like that is quite the feat. I mean, how big's this guy? About 17.5 stone? I guess you've got the stats out.
You know what? I don't have that in front of me, Dean. I'll get back to you on that one, but I can certainly see the pain etched across the face of Dan Head, who, giving up that weight advantage to Johnny Moss is having that extra bit of difficulty getting towards those ropes. Somehow he broke the hold, and this one will continue. But if Head can't walk, he certainly can't climb to the top rope and do one of those high-risk offensive manoeuvres.
And this crowd split down the middle. Chance of Moss, chance of Head.
Yeah, both men, I think, have the respect of this crowd. I think I'm.
Oh, look at that!
I think I'm rooting for Head just based on his underdog status here. But
Johnny Moss showing himself to be a ring general. He's using the ropes, using that ring to his advantage. He's going to go down, crashes down again. That could snap your shin as well as tear any one of the ligaments in the knees. The ACL, the MCL, the PCL, any of them.
I mean, imagine what it's like to be Dan Head now. He must have, over the past couple of months at some point entertained the thought that somehow he could win this tournament. And he's just seeing and feeling it ebbing away from him. That must feel absolutely horrendous.
I wouldn't want to be Dan Head. I'd even prefer to be John Atkins than Dan Head. That's how bad the situation for Dan is right now, I think.
And shoulder first though into the steel post goes Moss. This may be the opening that Dan Head needs.
Well, like the first match, these two semi-finals are curiously mirroring one another, because we saw that as a turning point in Terry Frazier's match with Zack Sabre Jr.
Look at this. Head is stalking Moss, but he's having to use the ropes to support himself.
I was going to say, he's holding himself up and his leg's just gone on him.
And Johnny Moss, look at the smile on Moss's face. You don't see him smile very
often. Oh, German suplex, yes! And look at how he just plants the lighter Dan Head, keeps hold of him, he's going for number 2. And Dan Head not even trying to fight it off, he's just holding his hands behind his head to minimise the impact of the neck. He knows he can't fight him off. And I think, I'm going to say it now, I think Dan Head is a beaten man, Dave Bradshaw.
He's almost limp now. He's managed to make it to the ropes. That may be his only chance. Moss is like just a callous predator here. He senses blood. And now Head trying for a German suplex of his own. He's not going to get it as Moss. What's he going for here?
I don't know, but it's going to be pretty painful, whatever. Oh!
And Head kicks Moss to the outside. That may give Dan Head some valuable time to recover.
It'll give him some breathing time.
And you see, perhaps normally Dan Head would go for some kind of move over the top rope, land on Moss, but he just doesn't have the power in his legs to catapult himself over at the moment, Dean.
No. He has, as you said, he's gone limp.
Moss getting back in the ring. You saw him ramming the back of the leg, back of the knee into the side of the ring apron there.
Dan Head's gone limp, but we've got a semi on here in Bromley. See what he did there.
You can ignore that childish humour. That's all. Moss puts Head on the top rope here. What evil intentions, perhaps, from the vigilante?
Oh, don't say that. It reminds me of a terrible show years ago. He's pulling that knee pad down. Oh, just chopping the knee. I've never seen that before. That's just going to move that patella, the kneecap, across the joint. And Dan Head's all tied up by the one leg. He pulls himself back up again.
That'll relieve the pressure, but it means he can't see where Moss is. And Moss now, what's he planning? Look here. Moss, I think. Oh, and you see him just tossing Dan Head to the outside.
Johnny Moss is remorseless and relentless, and he is just going to do whatever it takes to get his place in the final against Terry Frazier later tonight.
Give some credit to Dan Head, though. He's showing the kind of resilience that he's shown throughout this tournament. Oh!
knee breaker on the steps, and a very, very confident Johnny Moss just smacks his hands together as if he's dusting flour off them at a bakery because he thinks that this man is cooked. That's a terrible pun.
I was wincing at the pun, but I was also wincing at the impact and the sheer pain and agony you're seeing on the face of Dan Head.
Much like Dan Head, I got myself into a corner and I couldn't get my way out of it. But anyway, Moss Head has pulled his way back up, but he's just back in the lion's den.
And look at him fight. Somehow he's found some energy in his legs. Chops by Head, and now the underhook headbutt. Trademark move by Dan Head. And another. Moss is wobbling here.
Moss won't go down though. Moss does not go down. And Dan Head can not really put any weight on that leg. He's a one-legged man in an arse-kicking contest.
Oh no! Oh! Overhead, belly to belly, that's got to be all. If Moss makes the cover, he's in the final.
He threw Dan Head over like it was nothing. 1, 2, but just a 2 count.
I can't believe Dan Head kicked out there. I literally cannot believe it. How is he going? I've never seen such a one-sided match yet. A guy just refused to give up, Dean. Cover again by Moss. 2 count only.
Well, Dan Head got himself into trouble early on, and it was the kind of trouble that you cannot get yourself out of. Once you've done your knee in like that, that's it.
Moss is going to go for that.
Oh, bow and arrow hold. Here we go. Can he get him up? Yes, he has. Puts pressure on those knees, the back, the neck.
Hang on a second. Head floated over.
Oh, and Johnny Moss just kicked out and threw Dan Head out of the ring. The strength of this man is absolutely phenomenal.
That's why we say he's the favourite to win this entire tournament. But he's still, despite dominating, he still hasn't put Dan Head away. And while that's the case, there must be some hope that Dan Head can pull this off.
There's no hope and Bob hope. And Johnny Moss misses.
Well, there's your hope right there, Dean. Dan Head just moved out the way.
Tremendous agility for a heavyweight.
And now, Dan Head, whatever happens here, he's done himself in great credit. Bulldog. Head will go for the cover. Surely, Dan, go for the cover, Dan.
He's going to try for a splash, is this? What's he going to do? This is an ill-advised move.
Yeah, I'm not sure he can pull this off if he can't even put weight on his leg. You see, he's got much slower going up there than he used to be, than he would normally be, rather. Head!
And he misses.
He took too long, Dean, he took too long.
And Moss looks like he's going for a single-leg Boston Crab.
On that injured knee.
Puts all the pressure, as you say, on that leg, hyperextends that knee joint.
And Dan Head, I think if he stretched, he'd be near the ropes, but he's just not there yet.
Oh, Johnny Moss repositions himself to put even more pressure on.
But Head's in the ropes, and Moss will have to break it.
What a display of heart from Dan Head. Again, like Terry Fraser, someone we know better in a tag environment with max voltage and maximum head, but he's really come good in this tournament.
Yeah, Moss must be getting frustrated now. What else does he have to do to beat Dan Head?
And you've also got to think, what toll is this taking on the long-term career of Dan Head?
You almost think he's going to have to rip the knee, square off the body of Dan Head to actually beat him here.
Oh, that'd be great.
And now Moss again. All his weight down on the knee. Look at how it's twisted. It's not supposed to bend that way, Dean.
No.
Anakin.
Something, I think Johnny Moss has been taking tips off Ric Flair when he was in the country last week. We've seen knee breakers, we've seen a few moves on the ropes with, stretching that knee out, all reminiscent of what Ric Flair would do in his day to wear you down for a figure four. Hey, maybe that's what Moss needs to do. Go for the figure four, Mossy! Go for the figure four!
Will you be quiet? Let these two wrestle. Don't let's help them out.
Oh, you can talk. You're horrendously biased in the last match. I've known this man for years. I'd love nothing more than to see him win. Not only to be great for him, but it will prove again that I'm right, because I am the Twisted Genius, and you obviously are a mere novice in my presence.
I've got, Dean, the fact that you're a friend, not only a fan, but a friend of Gentleman Gilligan Gordon is more than enough for me.
Oh,
What a
he
slam.
just slammed him. He just picked him up.
Moss going up high. He doesn't normally do
Ease.
that.
Oh, elbow drop to the knee.
That's got to be all. Moss with the elbow drop to the knee.
Oh, look at this now. Hyperextends that knee again. Surely Dan Head can't take any more, but Chris Hatcher's saying no.
And still Dan Head refuses to give up. Some of the fans here supporting Moss, some behind Head. How can you not be behind Dan Head after the effort he's put in here? I think Moss may have a handful of hair there. Perhaps a bit more Ric Flair there. Dirty tactics, Dean.
Hey, whatever wins you the match.
Jam-packed house here in Bromley.
We've still got people coming into the building. This is amazing. I've never seen so many people here in my life.
And well, those who've just arrived late, they've missed an incredible effort.
They'll have to buy the DVD.
They certainly will, but in the meantime, it's not over yet. They're going to see the end of this one live. As if it ever finishes. Will Dan Head ever just accept defeat here? No, he won't. Backdrop by Dan Head. Head measures Johnny Moss.
Oh, right on the button, but Johnny Moss still not down. He is now.
Moss goes down. What an effort. What an effort by Dan Head. He's on the middle rope now.
He's on the third wind.
And oh no.
Oh, look at this. He's got that leg over his own neck.
Like a stretched muffler, and he sits down into it.
And that is it. And this one is all over. Let's go to John Atkins.
The winner of the match and the second man through to the final of the British National Championship Tournament, the All England champion, Vigilante, Johnny Moss.
Well, I have nothing but respect for Johnny Moss, but that to me is a tragedy after the effort Dan Head put into this match and to almost win it there at the end. He's done himself absolutely the world of credit despite the losing effort here.
Oh yeah, great credit to Dan Head, but let's face it, the odds were always stacked.